Did you know that over 77% of people regularly experience physical symptoms caused by stress? Now, to put that in perspective, that's more than 3 out of 4 of us that are walking around with tight chests, clenched jaws, and our minds on overdrive. So, stress isn't just a modern inconvenience, it's become a full blown epidemic. But what if the solution isn't complicated? Welcome back to the podcast, family. And on today's episode, we're going to break down a few simplified, proven techniques that is going to help you regulate your stress response. And I bet you think I'm going to talk about mindfulness, deep breathing, movement, digital detox, or even perhaps journaling. Not in this episode, although they do have proven stress reduction benefits. But I want to talk about what no one else is discussing and that you can access with immediate results. First up, vagus nerve stimulation. Now, the vagus nerve controls your parasympathetic nervous system. That is your calm down button in your body. So you could try gargling for 30 seconds, humming or chanting. Think something like some type of vibration, chanting or humming like that, splashing cold water on your face, or maybe holding an ice cube against your neck, because these all stimulate the vagus nerve and it's going to help regulate your stress response almost instantly. And if you're skeptical, I don't blame you, but let me give you just a little more information on why it works to help you understand it. Now, that nerve is the longest cranial nerve and a major component of the parasympathetic nervous system, and that is your body's rest and digest system. When you stimulate it, immediately you're going to help lower your heart rate, reduce blood pressure, and activate a calming effect in your body. So the gargling, the humming, the chanting is creating vibration near your vocal cords where that nerve is accessible. Cold water stimulation is activating the diving reflex, which is going to slow the heart rate and calm the nervous system. So what you're doing is resetting the body from stress mode, sympathetic nervous system, to calm mode, parasympathetic. And the next thing on the list that you could do to help you with stress is what we call the Havning technique. Now, this is a psychosensory therapy method that involves really light, rhythmic self-touch, like stroking your arms or your face maybe, while recalling a stressful memory. And in that therapy, it's used to disrupt stress response tied to trauma. But here I want to tell you how you can get started to help you immediately reduce stress. So, gently rubbing your upper arms maybe in a slow downward stroke while thinking of something positive or calming is going to help. Let me tell you why. You're using tactile sensory input to reduce amygdala activity. That's a section in your brain, and it's the part of your brain that stores emotional responses that are tied to trauma and stress. So that rhythmic touch on the arms or face is going to trigger the release of delta brain waves, which are associated with, guess what, family? Deep relaxation. So when you pair that with positive affirmations or memories, it's going to rewire emotional connections to past stress or trauma through a process called synaptic depotentiation. Depotentiation. That's a word for you. Basically, what you're doing is loosening the emotional charge on a memory. So you're essentially soothing your brain with touch while reprogramming how it responds to stress. And really quick, before I go any further, remember that the information I am providing is for informational and entertainment purposes only. And let's just zoom out for a second and look at what stress is really doing to us. I want you to understand the importance of getting it under control. I told you earlier. So 3 out of 4 of us are walking around with all these physical symptoms. And let's be honest, stress is baked into our everyday lives. Deadlines, notifications, overloaded schedules. We're constantly in fight or flight mode. Traffic in the morning. That's what that reminds me of. But here's the thing. We weren't really designed to live like this. And so we're breaking down ways in simple science-backed methods, all of these different ways that will help you reduce stress. So no expensive retreats. You don't even have to get out a pen and paper. There's no fluff here. It's real doable tools that you can use in the moment when you need it. You could use it. You could start today, because chronic stress has been linked to heart disease, insomnia, digestive issues, anxiety, depression. I could go on and on and on. And when our nervous system is constantly activated, imagine it's like running a car engine 24 hours a day, 7 days a week without a break. And eventually that engine's going to burn out, and so will your body. And the scariest part, many of us don't even notice we're operating at this level because it's become your new normal. And there's so many stresses in the day. Even little stresses add up and they compound. And if you're someone who pushes through it, maybe even wears stress like a badge of honor, you might not realize how much it's silently affecting your mind, your body, and even your relationships. So the question then becomes, how do you hit the brakes? Well, I'm giving you some tools. You can hit the brakes by finding something to help you at the get that stress response under control. So that said, let's just move into the third thing that can help you do just that: bilateral stimulation. Now, it is used in EMDR therapy, so it involves alternating stimulation, like tapping each side of the body to help process emotions and reduce anxiety. And here, we're going to use it like this. Lightly tap your knees or your shoulders, left, right, left, right, while breathing deeply. And you can also walk and focus on the left, right rhythm of your steps. So there's options here. And you might be thinking, what are you talking about? Well, here's why it works. It is foundational in eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy, which is the EMDR I mentioned earlier. So it's helping stimulate both hemispheres of the brain. So it's promoting emotional processing and integration. And when you're alternating stimulation, like tapping left, right, left, or you're walking, focusing on that left, right, left, it's mimicking the left, right eye movements that occur during REM sleep. Now, that is when your brain is naturally processing emotions. And so what's happening is you're going to help your brain lower emotional reactivity and then also promote cognitive clarity. So your brain, your thoughts aren't going to be so muddied up. So essentially, you're breaking the looping thought cycle, and it's helping your brain process overwhelming feelings more effectively. Now, the fourth thing that you can do, it's called binaural beats or isochronic tones. Now, I've put out a lot of different healing frequencies and I'll actually link those in the show notes. But basically what this is sound frequencies that can sort of retrain your brain waves into a calmer state, especially alpha, which is relaxed brain waves, and theta, meditative states. Now, if you search YouTube or Spotify, you'll be able to just search binaural beats for anxiety or 4 hertz theta waves. You probably want to use headphones for best results. And like I said, I've created a lot of different episodes with just those healing frequencies and it has many different hertz. And I'll link those in the show notes, but you can also just search it. Like I said, on YouTube or Spotify. And the reason that this is working is because those sound waves use brainwave entrainment. That simply means that your brain naturally syncs to the frequency that it hears. So, for example, alpha waves, that's 813 hertz, will promote calm, focus, and flow. Theta waves, 4 to 8 hertz, support deep relaxation and even subconscious processing. And when you listen to two tones, those binaural beats of slightly different frequencies in each ear, that's why headphones are a good thing to wear. You don't have to, but it just helps the process that much more. But it creates a perceived, so your brain is perceiving a third note, that binaural beat, and it's guiding your brain towards these states: calm, focus, relaxed. So it's like tuning your brain to a calmer station, and it's backed by science-based sound therapy. The fifth thing that you can do is scent memory anchoring. This is one of my favorites. So you pair a specific calming scent, like lavender, for example, with a relaxed state, like right after meditation. And over time, your brain starts associating, because you're pairing it with a relaxed state. So you'd want to use it when you're relaxed, and you're pairing this scent with calm, and just smelling it, then guess what? It's going to trigger relaxation over so many pairings. And why it works is because your olfactory bulb, which is your smell center, has a direct line to the amygdala and the hippocampus, another area in your brain, which are responsible for emotion and memory. So when you're smelling that specific scent that you've paired with a calming state, during those calm moments, it's helping your brain associate that smell with safety and peace. And later, when you encounter that same scent, guess what's going to happen? You're going to reactivate that calm neural pattern, and you're going to reduce stress. Now, obviously, this is working because it is classical condition that's applied to scent, like aromatherapy with a neuroscience twist. And you're going to want to make sure, though, if you use this method, and you have a specific scent that you pair it with, that you're able to, it's portable, it's transportable, that in a moment that you could use it, whether you're in your office or you're stuck in traffic, etc. Now, these are all great techniques, and I know there are tons out there. So what's your go-to stress relief technique? Is it something unique, something simple? Leave me some feedback or DM me. I'd love to feature some of your ideas in an upcoming episode. Now, let's move into the sixth tip I want to give you for reducing stress, and it's called creative task switching. It's kind of like a sensory reset. So, doing a completely different task for 5 minutes, something maybe tactile, like organizing a drawer or sketching or even using a fidget toy. If you've ever seen those fidget toys, this is why they work. So pay attention. Basically, when you do this, you're interrupting spiraling thoughts and reducing stress by resetting your cognitive load. Well, it works because when you shift from abstract thinking, like worrying, right? You're in the middle of a stress, and you're going to switch to some other task for 5 minutes. So when you shift from that to a physical sensory focused task, you're activating different neural networks, particularly in the sensory and motor cortex. And why that is so important is because it's disrupting the default mode network that is often associated with rumination and anxiety. Now, rumination comes in when you have those repeated worrying, anxiety, backed thoughts. So this tactile and novel activity that you're going to do is going to boost dopamine. Remember, that's your feel good. It expresses that feel good hormones in your body, and you're feeling good. That happens after you eat. You express dopamine, making it more likely for you to eat again because it's pairing something with feeling good, or maybe even caffeine, because caffeine is a psychostimulant after all, so that you can understand how it works. And it helps your prefrontal cortex, that's where your thinking and stuff happen, regain control. So essentially, it's a pattern interruption task or tip. This tip is, so your brain moves from chaos to focus with just a small hands-on activity. Now let's move into the seventh activity I can give you or tip to help you reduce stress: progressive animal breathing. Yes, let me say that again: progressive animal breathing. Now, this playful sounding but surprisingly effective technique is based on animal mimicry. It engages kids and adults alike. So, this one may be a little bit strange for some people. So, if it's not for you, that's okay. But let me give you some examples. Snake breathing, for example. So you're going to inhale through the nose and exhale slowly while hissing like a snake. I can't remember the name of it, but there's a breathing technique in yoga that uses this. And then bunny breathing, maybe 3 quick sniffs in through the nose and then a really long exhale. Or bee breathing, just hum on the exhale. It's fun, it regulates breath, and it naturally calms the nervous system. And let me tell you why this works. Now, these breathing patterns are mimicking animals. They're childlike, I know, but they're very powerful. They regulate your nervous system by extending the exhalation process, the phase, which is going to activate the vagal brake. Again, the vagus nerve. So long, slow exhales, breathing in and then slowly breathing out. Tell the brain we're safe. It also adds a bit of novelty and a bit of lighthearted play. So it's going to release tension and oxytocin. Oxytocin is also a feel-good hormone involved in love and bonding, among other things. So this is really playful breath work. It's very highly effective, and it is especially recommended for people who feel stuck in adult mode seriousness all day long. And let's move into number 8. I have another tip for you. Number 8, sensory imprint visualization. So instead of general visualization, recall one calm moment in detail: what it looked like, what it smelled like, and what it sounded like. Something that was calm in your life. The goal is to activate the same neural networks in your brain as if you were actually there. Okay, so you're visualizing. Let me tell you why this works. Because when you are vividly recalling a calm, safe moment using all 5 senses, your brain fires the same neural pathway as it would during that actual experience. This is a form of neuroplasticity. So your hippocampus and your prefrontal cortex are engaging, and then they're regulating the amygdala. Remember, the amygdala was involved in emotion regulation, etc. So you're teaching the brain to associate those calm signals with safety and reducing the stress response over time. So you are literally rewiring your brain for calm using memory and imagination. And let me share something personal. So a few years ago, I hit a brick wall. Higher than I could ever climb, thicker than I could ever go through. I was in a constant loop of anxiety and just overload, overwork. And I thought I was doing everything right, being productive, meeting deadlines, pushing through, wearing my stress badge with honor. But I was mentally and physically just fried. Panic attacks became regular visitors again. I suffered from panic attacks for most of my life. And thankfully, over the past, they had stopped for a very long time, but all of a sudden they were back because I was doing all of those things. And one night I just couldn't sleep. So again, and now the sleepless nights happened again. And I finally decided to just sit on the floor. I didn't know what else to do. So I just sat on the floor and I just breathed. Nothing fancy. I just became aware of my breath, just breathing. And that moment changed everything for me. It was the first time in years that I had actually just stopped thinking, stopped doing, just sat and breathed. And from there, I committed to adding just a few minutes of mindfulness because that's what I was doing, and movement each day. And over time, I can tell you that my panic attacks decreased and I started sleeping and I felt human again. Now, this is just my personal experience, okay? I do believe if it can work for me, someone who honestly, I did once laughed at the word self-care, and now that's what I talk about. So I've experienced this. I do believe that it can work for many of you. And if none of this or what you have heard before help you, let me give you a bonus technique, some bonus techniques that I hope will help. One of those is morning grounding routine. So you're going to want to start your day with 5 minutes, much like I just explained, just sitting quietly for 5 minutes. No phone, just being present. Even sipping, you can sip your coffee during this time, but sip it with intention, and it's going to set the tone for the day. Just 5 minutes. I do this every single morning without delay, without, I don't know what word I'm looking for, without fault, maybe. I don't know, but I do it every single morning, even if I'm running behind. For me, I have to have this to set my day. Understanding, it's really the neuroscience of calm, which is what's happening during this time. And understanding what's happening in your brain helps you stay motivated, I hope, because stress shrinks the hippocampus. I promise you, there have been tons of studies done where they've done brain images, and people that are under chronic stress have a lot of shrinkage in their hippocampus. Okay. Their hippocampus is not the same volume with what you would find in someone who's not experiencing chronic stress. So, why is this important? And why do people who are under constant stress, depression, etc., why are they affected with memory and learning? Because your hippocampus is directly involved in that. And so when it has atrophy, which is shrinkage, now your memory and learning are impacted. But mindfulness and movement can reverse the damage. That's the good news. That's the fantastic news. The bad news is when that it is happening, there is atrophy happening in that so important area in your brain, but you can reverse the damage. Literally, you are building a more resilient brain. You're creating also a personal calm kit in this process. And this is another bonus tip because you can build a mini toolkit. Your favorite calming music, herbal tea, essential oils, maybe a weighted blanket, a guided meditation app. Know what soothes you and keep it close. And I also want to give you a really powerful bonus tip that I have given you before in other episodes, but it's community and connection. And I stand by this because one of the most overlooked stress relievers is meaningful connection. Call a friend, hug someone you love. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone, helps reduce stress hormones too. And if you've made it this far, thank you for spending this time with me. And if this helped you at all, check out my video on mastering your mindset, change your life, because it's packed with even more practical tools for levering up your mental wellness. Don't forget to follow me wherever you get your podcasts, leave feedback, and like this episode because it helps others find this podcast and it may give them some help as well. Thank you for hanging out with me today. And remember, you don't have to wait for your life to slow down to feel calm. You just need the right tools to meet it with clarity. Until the next episode, take care of your mind, body, and soul.